Hey guys, Vol here again. Been playing some more poker this evening. Hopefully you guys liked my introductory video last time. But one thing you can do with some of these poker chat clients like PokerStars is get them to email a history request to you of your last 50 hands. So here's me in Gmail here, and what you do is you simply copy the hand that you want to actually visualize and paste it into your pokerstrategy.com account here. So you just paste and convert, and down here you can see a list of hands that I've played recently. So just going to talk you through a session I had tonight. Over the last few days, in fact over the last week in general, I've been very unlucky, had a lot of bad beats. It's been actually quite tough for me, but this evening I finally turned it around with some decent hands. Some of them I played all right, some of them I played very poorly. So let's just have a look at some of them. In fact, it started out by going poorly, and then I managed to come back. So let's have a look at this one. What you do is you click play hand after it's been visualized, and it brings up the screen here, and then we just play it through. So let's just pause it here. I'm on the big blind with pocket tens, and unfortunately I'm up against somebody with kings. So obviously the guy with kings raises, and I decide to re-raise with my tens, and he re-raises me. Let's just pause it here. If somebody re-raises you and you've got tens, you should really be careful there, because chances are your opponent's only going to be re-raising you with something really good. I mean, if it's ace king versus tens, you're still in a little bit of trouble. I mean, when I say trouble, there's a decent chance your opponent will win. But anything better than a pocket tens, you could have jacks, queens, kings, aces. You're done for. And in this situation, flops comes down. I've got no chance of taking it, and of course he manages to get quite a lot of chips out of me. So yeah, bit unlucky there that I happened to run into the kings during that play, but after he re-raised me, I guess the more conservative thing would have been to fold. So I guess I don't know if I'd do the same thing in the situation again, but I'd certainly consider it more thoroughly. Let's look at this next hand where I've managed to pick up queens, and I'll just visualize it again. So in this one, let's just wait for it to load up. Queen's obviously a very good starting hand, and let's just pause it. I'm in the big blind, and somebody has min raised with ace queen right after me, so let's see what happens if he picks up any callers. Min raising is a really weird thing to do. So I've got one person min raising, so what I do, of course, is a fairly standard re-raise, and as you can see after the pause, I've re-raised essentially just over 3 times the original raise, accounting for an extra person calling, and I've got both people calling me on the 14 cents here, which is 7 big blinds. So we've each put in 7 big blinds, and we're into the flop. So what is the flop? Let's turn it over and pause it. We've got 9, 8, 10. And really I shouldn't be firing any money at this. I mean, I've got the overpair, which is fantastic, but with those clubs on the board, it's pretty easy that the other people could have either just one club and a really good flush draw, or both clubs. And I'm out of position here, unfortunately, so I think checking would have been a better thing to do. Of course, I've been called when I made my bet. 4 big blinds into it, so 8 cents into 43, and let's look at what happens. I actually get a caller and a fold. So again, I'm betting, and really I think this was terrible play by me. I should have really figured out that after somebody called my bet there, that I was likely to either be behind or in a lot of trouble. But let's just see what happens here. So we're going to go to the river, and the river card's an ace. So in this situation, I finally learnt my lesson. This is probably the only good play of the hand that I made besides the pre-flop stuff, is to check, because it's so likely that the other guy will have either a flush draw or an ace. And I've finally figured out at this point in the hand that that's the situation, and with so much probability, there's so much luck, so much chips in, I really can't afford to lose anymore. So of course what happens is he checks and wins it, and I lose a lot of chips there, unfortunately. Let's look at the next one. This is me playing with pocket threes, and I think I'm on the button for this one. Yeah, indeed I was. So on the button with pocket threes, very low pocket pair, but certainly playable. I've just called it here, and let me just talk about this. Chances are that if I don't hit a 3 on the flop, that I'm definitely going to be behind. Even though I'm only up against the big blind in this case, if he's got anything better, which he's going to, I'm going to be behind. So I've got to be really careful. That's why I don't want to put too much money into it. But if I do hit the 3, then maybe I can make a bit of money out of him. So what happens on the flop is we've got pocket queens, and he bets 4 cents into 5 cents. And seeing that I've got possession on him, so I can call and see if a 3 comes later or something interesting comes. There's 2 clubs there, I've got a 3 of clubs, maybe I can get a flush draw. But with him betting like that, I'm probably better off folding. Even though I've got the 2 pair, it's not the kind of 2 pair where I've got one of my hole cards matches one on the board, and then I've got a different hole card matching up with another one. No, he's got access to the queens as well. So if he has a queen or an 8 or a better pocket pair than me, he's got it. He's indicated that he's got something strong by betting the 4 cents. I'm not really sure if it's very wise to call here, but unfortunately that's exactly what I ended up doing. And then there's a king. So he bets again 6 cents into 13 cents. I've got to certainly be behind at this point. I mean, again, if he's got an 8, if he's got a queen, if he's got a king, higher pair than me, sure. There's a chance that he's bluffing at it, but usually when they're betting at it twice like this, it's not really likely to be a bluff. So calling it, bad play. It's a 4. He bets, I fold. And again, it took me the river to figure out that I was behind there and really decide to let it go. And I think a better player there would have laid it down earlier. Luckily, I'm not, completely terrible at this game, and I managed to actually fold on the river knowing that I was behind. But, we didn't actually get to see his cards in the showdown. Maybe he was bluffing, but it's not really worth calling it in that situation. So unfortunately, lost again, but, made a couple of good plays, a couple of bad plays there. This next one, I've picked up Ace-King. Obviously, everybody likes to get Ace-King. Unfortunately, it's not Ace-King suited, just Ace-King offsuit. And I'm on the under the gun, so I'm betting. Decent hand to bet with, but I get a caller. Unfortunately, I'm out of position against this caller. So we'll see what happens. We've got 3, 10, 3. I'm betting into it. Let's just pause it here. Got to be careful, because if he's made trips, then I lose so much money here. But as it stands, I've got 2 over pairs. Sorry, I've got 2 over cards to the flop. I've still got the over cards. If he's got a queen there, then I could be in a lot of trouble. But I've also picked up a straight draw, and I've missed the flush opportunity. But just gonna keep betting into it for some reason. What ends up happening? He ends up folding. So pretty daring and risky bet on the turn. Made him fold, but in hindsight it was probably a bit too risky of me. I think I was a little bit too loose in that situation. I didn't really have any credible information, as far as I could tell, that meant that he was going to fold, but he did, as it turned out. But he could easily have called that and beaten me with a 10 or a queen, or even a 3. So, yeah, I'm not really sure what to say about this one. Let's just watch it again. I mean, maybe people commenting on this game have some feedback for me, but let's just replay it. In fact, I'm just going to have to open the hand again. I actually want to have a look at this one again. So I'm betting out of position with Ace-King. Here it goes. So betting 6, get a caller from middle position 3. Everybody else folds. And it comes down that I've got 2 overcards to the flop. It's a rainbow flop, and then a queen comes, and I bet, and he folds. So sort of like representing the queen, I guess. Well, not much that I can figure out from that hand, but maybe you guys will know better than me. King Jack suited is the next hand that I'm going to play here, and we'll see how this goes. This time I'm in the small blind, and betting comes right around to me with nobody betting, and I decide to, well, the dealer called, and I decided to raise to 6, and I got a caller. And then putting in the continuation bet here, I've got top pair. It's a pretty sensible move to do, and I get a fold. So nothing particularly special about that hand, I've got to say. Let's move on to the next one. So this one I've got queens again, 2 queens, and queens again, same session, is pretty lucky for me. Usually I don't get such good hole cards. And I'm in the cutoff position, so betting 4 cents, and I'm just going to pause it here. Sometimes in these situations, I do the min raise in late position just because I'm so afraid of everybody folding. It's probably not the smartest thing to do. You're really better off betting three big blinds because it's the standard thing to do. Yeah, I mean, if you're up against fairly loose players, I don't know, man. Maybe it's better off against really passive players. I mean, if you're at a table where nobody's really calling and a lot of people are folding, it's hard to tell. But amazingly, I've flopped a full house. I've absolutely got the stone cold nuts here. There's absolutely no way I can lose this. So how do I extract value? I've only, bet 4 cents into it. That's two big blinds. But if I bet much here, it's certainly going to look strong. So I'm going to have to check him. So that's indeed what happens. Checks back to me, comes to a king. Really hoping that he picked up a king there, but again, checked. So just making no money out of this hand whatsoever. And when it comes to the two, I'm still ahead. He bets, I check. Sorry, let's start that again. On the river, I check, and he bets 2 cents. And no, sorry, got that run the wrong way. Obviously, I've got position on him. So when the river comes, it's a 2. He bets 2 cents. I raise him 4 cents, just the smallest min raise, hoping to get at least any value at all, and he folds. So yeah, I'm really at a loss for what to do. I think it was just unlucky that I didn't really get any action. But you tell me. I mean, if I had made a serious bet earlier in those streets, would he have called me? Presumably I've got to try, but in that situation I think I was just unlucky to not pick up a guy that was calling. I mean, that was the big blind, and surely he hit nothing there, so could have made tons of money out of such a great flop, but of course didn't. Next hand will be ace 10 suited, and this time I'm on the button, so pretty decent situation for me. Ace 10 suited on the button, and we're going to wait for a call. We've got a limper, and I raise it. So what happens here? I've got a call and another call. Now this situation, have a look at it. I've got the flush draw. I've got the top boat, ace and a 10 and 2 hearts. So any heart will do it for me. And also I've got 2 overcards to the flop. So what I'm going to do here is obviously try and get some value out of it. I'm waiting for them to do something, and I bet 6 cents. So 6 cents is just under a third, which is not a lot, but I was hoping for some callers, and I got one caller here and a fold. So next card is an 8. I've missed the flop, so I've missed the river, but I'm in position, and this is actually not too bad a situation to bluff. I could credibly represent an overpair here, or maybe ace jack or something like that. And if he does call my bluff, then there's still a chance of the flush coming down. So I think betting's a reasonable thing to do, just from what I can see. So checking anyway, and the 9 comes down here. So despite what I said here, I think I made the wrong move. Betting on the turn probably would have been a better thing to do. I checked, he's bet, so do I fold here? Well, I've showed a lot of aggression in earlier streets. Nobody's made the flush. I've got 2 overcards. Chances are he's got something here, but turns out what happens is that I fold because I know that I'm beaten. And yeah, I don't think I played terribly here. The first couple of streets, I mean, pre-flop was fine. I think what I did on the flop was fine, but folding, sorry, not folding, folding on the river was fine, but the turn I think was my real problem there. Maybe I should have fired more money at it, but I did miss the flush. There was another chance of getting it. Hard to know. I think that's really where the error was, but at least I didn't call him on the river with nothing essentially except an ace kicker, ace high. So next, we're going to have a look at King 10. I'm not really sure if this one was any significance. King 10's a really marginal hand in most situations. I'm on the small blind, so I think if nobody really bets big, then you can call, one blind here. And that's what I do. And comes down king. Oh, this is an interesting hand actually. Let's stop it. So what's happened is that I'm out of position, and I decided to make quite a big overbet. 14 into 8, and all I've got is the top pair. And I've got one card there which is not really an overcard to the flop. Haven't really got a flush draw. I think my plan, just remembering this situation, is that I'm up against 2 people and I'm actually bluffing. I'm actually hoping for well, I'm not completely bluffing, I'm semi-bluffing. I've got top pair, so it's hardly a bluff, but I was really feeling like I'd be more comfortable if they folded, which they didn't. I get one person calling me. So let's see what actually happens. Next play, I bet again, and continuation. I'm just trying to look really strong here, trying to represent something better than top pair. Top pair is all I've got. The fact the other guy's calling me says to me that he's got a king as well. Now, does he have ace king? Does he have king queen, king jack? Any of those hands beat me, so I've got to be really careful on this river. Let's have a look at what happens next. River card comes check, and that's me being careful there. He's bet 32 cents into 68, almost half the pot. Should I fold here? Well, turns out that I do make the hero call, but folding, is pretty sensible here, given that I'm probably beaten. If he's calling the flop and the river for my big bets, chances are he's got a king. What else could he have? King 8-5. Is he calling me with a pair of eights? He's beaten me. He's calling me with a pair of fives. He's beaten me. If he's got two pair, fantastic. If he's got two aces, he's going to beat me. I don't think he has two aces here because he didn't re-raise pre-flop, but decided to make the hero call just because I'm hoping that he's either got a weaker kicker than me, maybe king 9, king 6 or something like that, or has just hit an 8 or a 5. And what actually happens here is that he's got queen 8, he hit the middle pair, and he was calling me. So quite ballsy play by my opponent. Turned out that I got lucky there, that I'd actually picked somebody up with middle pair, but I wasn't really happy with my play there, especially that massive bet on the flop. This one got very fortunate this evening because I cracked somebody's kings with aces. It's always nice when that happens, but it's not really a matter of me playing well here. It's just that happens that I had aces against kings. It gets very annoying sometimes because I have aces on the big blind and everybody just folds around to me and I just make no money out of it, which is terrible. But luckily he didn't pick up the king, managed to double my stack there. So very nice, but you can't really expect those sorts of hands to win you games of poker all the time. I think time for a couple of more. Let's have a look. Play this hand. What have we got here? I think I had some sort of flush this one. Ace 5 of clubs. I'm in the small blind. Ace 5 of clubs, it's suited, but you don't really want to play an ace with a rag. I've decided to call it just because it's one, and I've picked up a flush draw, so pair of jacks, and checked it all the way to the turn. Then I'm going to make a big stab at it, trying to represent either a jack or an overpair or something like that. I don't really know. As you can tell, I don't really have a lot of thinking going into these plays and my lack of experience, but given that the dealer folded, checked it earlier, if he hasn't got a jack, he's going to fold against this sort of bet. And what does he do? He folds. So, credibly managed to represent the jack there somehow. Got a fold. Wasn't the worst play in the world, wasn't the best play in the world in my opinion. And this one I've got a pair of tens. Let's have a look at this one. I think this is quite an interesting one as well. So let's just enlarge this. I've got a pair of tens, but unfortunately the guy in the big blind has got kings. So we saw the situation before, I believe, raising it, and he re-raises it, and I just call. That's fantastic. So as you can see, I've actually hit a set, and I've just called. So I think the terrible thing to do pre-flop would have been to re-raise him there, because if I re-raise and then he re-raises me, I'm really pot committed. I've lost a lot of money to an overpair. Turns out that he does have an overpair, but by just calling I've pot controlled it a bit, and now I can really extract maximum value because I've got the set here. So this is fantastic. Let's see what happens. He's bet, I've just called. So I'm showing him at this point that maybe I've just hit, a single pair or a two pair at best, and he's still got the overpair, so he's liking his situation. He's betting again. I know that I've got the nuts here unless he's got two queens. There is a chance that he's got two queens, so I'm a bit scared, but I can't really sort of play purely on that off chance that he's got them. I feel in this case I've got to really try and go for it, because this situation doesn't crop up much. So again, it's all in here basically. He's maybe accidentally hit the wrong button on his online browser and actually gone all in except for 2 cents. So he bets 2 cents on the river, and I of course call him, and of course pick up the money there. So fantastic hand for me. Luckily a few things went right. think we'll stop it there. I've been going for quite a while, but hopefully you guys enjoying these poker videos. And if I continue to do well, or at least have some interesting things to say, I'll try and post some more.